everybody, and welcome to this super exciting show in which new music meets new film. Yes, people, you are about to see the world premieres of 6 short films made by students in the BA Hons Performance Design and Practice course at the legendary Central St Martin's Art and Design College in London. These pieces are their response to a collection of London Sinfonietta's short solo commissions, part of Sinfonietta's Shorts series, in which bite-sized pieces of brand new music by fantastic living composers are performed by the ensemble's principal players and brought directly to you lot at home via this technology that we all love so much right now. Yes! Now, it's not the first time that St Martin's and London Sinfonietta have teamed up. For starters, their headquarters are both just across the road from each other in King's Cross in London. And there have been some fascinating collaborations over the last at least 10 years. Very, very interesting pieces of work have come out of these, of the students from St Martin's and the musicians of London Sinfonietta. And as a kind of side benefit, the musicians of the contemporary music world have had a chance to look at some of the cutting edge style and haircuts of the visual art world. Not very common in classical new music, I can tell you. Anyway, in a moment, I'll be chatting to some of the film creators who will be sharing with us some of their respective approaches to this project. But first, you should know that this evening, which is part of London Sinfonietta's brand new series, New Times, New Music, good title, is presented with the friendly support of the Ernst von Siemens Music Foundation and the Arts Council. And we'd also like to say a huge thank you to all those individuals, trusts and companies who, through donation and sponsorships, have help make all of Sinfonietta's work possible. Also, a big thank you to NMC for allowing us to use the wonderful recordings of the players that you're going to hear this evening. So all of our events this autumn and winter are presented online for free, so that as many people as possible have access to the best of new music that's happening today. If you're enjoying our live streams, and by the way, if this is your first time on a London Sinfonietta live stream, welcome. It's wonderful to have you here. But if you're enjoying the live streams, please consider donating, no matter how small. Price of a cup of coffee, maybe the price of a concert ticket, or maybe the price of a Ferrari, you know, wouldn't say no. But anyway, we would be so grateful for your donations received with such gratitude at this strange time, helping us keep music, art and creativity burning. If you have a look in the video description box, there's you can learn how to donate there. So huge thanks for those of you who can help us. And as you can see, there is a live chat. Yes, people, it'd be wonderful if through this show you can make your preferably constructive comments as we go through the show, and any questions you might have for the filmmakers, so that as I speak to them, they can answer some of your questions. Okay, let's get to it. So it's now time to go to our very first film, which is called Inside. So if the makers of this film, Kira Copland, Tom Frass and Grace Hall, could make yourself visible and audible. So this is their response to Deborah Pritchard's beautiful piece, Inside Colour for solo violin, performed by Jonathan Morton. And these creators that you can now see here, welcome. They've called this a poetic film traversing the use of light and colour as symbolism within music, filmography and animation. Welcome team. Grace, hello there, hi. Can you tell us something about this film and the themes behind it, this sort of dreamlike world that you've made in this beautiful film?
From Deborah's score, so these visual aspects, very illustrative, watercolors, colors. So yeah, that was our main inspiration, which led us into this water animation, color and light kind of feeling for the film.
And did Deborah tell you that she is synesthetic? Oh, I can't say that. So she sees music in colours.
Yes, exactly. And it was a huge part that played in us creating the film and our initial inspiration as well, and trying to blend everything together, really.
Fantastic. Tom, can you tell us a little bit about your role in this film and some of the technical processes?
Oh, well, my role for this film is, for me, honestly, a lot of it was practice. It was brand new to me, working with animation to get the vision of what we wanted to make across. Um, and yes, so that's been my practice. I've been mostly huddled away behind this screen, which I'm in front of right now, making away these animations. And I've been very lucky to work with two very, very incredible artists, Kira and Grace, and also to be working with the music of Deborah, which is phenomenal.
Fantastic. And Kira, this is set in 3 different locations, isn't it? Can you tell us a little bit about that, about the locations themselves and how you chose them?
So we went through a fairly extensive process of picking the locations that we were in. We did a lot of scouting, particularly for the outdoor locations, just to make sure that they were safe to work around and that they fit kind of our creative vision. One of the rooms that we worked within was on campus at university, and it was a studio, so there was a lot more control working with it. One of them is a bathroom. It's actually Grace's bathroom, and she did a lot of that shooting from home. And the third place was in, I believe it's Leighton, Hollow Ponds. It's part of Epping Forest. So we kind of went there for an early morning shoot in the middle of November, which was an experience to say the least.
Fantastic. Well, I think we should see it straight away so that we don't give the game away too much. So this is Inside, made by Kira Copland, Tom Frass, and Grace Hall. Inside by Kira Copland, Tom Frass and Grace Hall. Grace, was that you in the bath that we were looking at then?
It was, yeah.
Is that your first time starring in a film?
Yeah.
Well, I must say you look incredibly at home there. It's yeah, you look really stunning. I have to quickly ask about the statue. Kira, maybe you could tell us about that. It's an incredible image.
Yeah, so that was actually something Tom animated himself. So I don't know if Tom could give some more information on that. That was entirely his.
Yeah, Tom.
that was entirely VFX. So that was all animated. And it was something that we really wanted to get across with this real feeling of mysticism and real feeling of something mythic larger happening. So the head with the crown, along with the crown that actually Kira made herself, and then so there's a physical version of the crown that Grace wears, and then there's a digital version that I made. And yes, so the design goes entirely over to Kira, but yes, I'm glad you like it.
It's a real collaboration. Deborah Pritchard is watching, your composer, and she says, bravo to all. It's an amazing film. Beautiful piece, Deborah. It really is. And Vicky Thornton, your wonderful coach and mentor and teacher, says, congratulations to all. It's been such a privilege to see how these amazing films have developed. Thank you to Vicky for all of your work too. And we have a comment also from Jeremy Till, who, as the head of Central St Martin's, has said how great these collaborations with Sinfonietta are. It's just wonderful to have all of you here together. So the three of you, many congratulations on your wonderful film. Now is your moment to disappear again into the magic while we go to our second film. And this is the film called Lost by Jiqing Hua and Nico Yao, and their response to Dai Fujikura's piece S for solo double bass, and played by the wonderful Enno Senft. Now, Jiqing and Nico are in China right now, so aren't able to join us because it's the middle of the night. But luckily, I was able to chat to them both earlier and ask them about their process in this film, which is a dreamlike study of the sense of displacement that Chinese international students so often experience while studying and living in a Western country and trying to adapt to a completely different culture. Here's what they said about it. Jiqing and Nico, it is so lovely to meet you. Nico, first, where are you right now? Which part of China are you in?
Oh, I'm in Beijing, in the capital city.
Wonderful. And Jiqing, where are you right now? Which part of China?
I'm in Shanghai.
Oh, you're in Shanghai. I feel so lucky. I've been to both of your cities, the only places in China I've been. Anyway, it's lovely to meet you. So this film, tell me more, Jiqing, about the theme that's behind it, first of all.
Okay, I think the theme of this film is about us Chinese students when we first come to UK, about our feeling, about our inner mind.
And this sense of a disconnect between Eastern and Western cultures, is that right?
Yes.
And so in this film, Jiqing, how have you approached this theme in terms of the style in order to create this sense of lost, which is the film's title?
So we used two elements of these in this film, and we used like Chinese architecture things and some of the, and we also ask our friends to shoot like some of the London streets as an element to show us the difference between these two cultures, and also that make us feel lost in Western culture. And Nico also used her body movement to show this.
Nico, you're starring in this film. Is this the first time you've been an actress in your own film?
Not the first time. I think this is about the third or the third time. I made 2 pieces of work before. It's also for music piece, and I kind of performing in the film. So I'm not kind of, this is what my work method kind of.
Well, you look very natural behind a camera. So in terms of the kind of editing techniques that the two of you have chosen, there's elements of surrealism here, is that right?
Yeah.
Nico, yeah. And so Dadaist, you've talked about quick, absurdist kind of edits between images, is that right?
Yeah, that's true.
And in terms of the film, I don't want to spoil it for the viewers, but there's a very critical point at which suddenly we see a little flash in Buñuel's style editing cut to the word Cartier. So Nico, what does that mean? What's that about, this part of the film?
You mean like with the, pardon?
So,
I didn't
so
hear
you
about.
talk about the film exploring the characters meeting with consumerism, and we see this card.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so tell us more about that.
Oh, the scene in the shopping mall. That was really
Exactly.
interesting. At first, we decided to shot. Yeah, we decided to shot at the shopping mall because the building of the shopping mall, that shopping mall is quite special. It has 6 floor, and the lift and the architect is really interesting. But when we walk into the shopping mall, we find the different stores, the shops, and it's actually in China, which we shoot our film in Nanjing. But when we walk into the shopping mall, we feel kind of a universal thing, like a feeling of consumerism is kind of like the consumerism is kind of like have fitting every country and every society. And we find this a really interesting point to explore, that even we will work in China, in a Chinese city, but we can see the Western stores and shops and the brands come into China, and it's super expensive, and most of Chinese people actually cannot afford it. But we see that kind of shops every day in our daily life. So this point is make me think about more like sometimes the cultural gap is not only happening in UK or in Western city, it's also happening in our hometown. So I decided to add this thing of it.
So this is very interesting. Through exploration of Eastern and Western architecture, which we see in this movie shot in London and China, the point where it meets is actually in the shopping mall, in consumerism. Jiqing, tell us briefly about this extraordinary moment in the film where we see an image of Vermeer's famous painting, The Girl with the Pearl Earring. Tell us what this means in the film.
Yes. The girl with the pearl earring is when I do the storyboard part, I choose this oil painting I want to add it into this film because I watched that film and I also did some research about this oil painting, and I find the story back to the story of this oil painting is the character is a male in his family, in the painter Wimmel's family, and she can't join in this family. She can't getting well. She can't contact with them, and that's also the feeling like us foreign students when we first get into a Western culture, a Western cultural background, and we also can't get good involved this culture. Yeah.
Wonderful. And a final question for both of you. The music is by a Japanese composer, Dai Fujikura. Now, obviously, you're Chinese, not Japanese, but I wondered if there might have been a sense of connection for two of you with music that's from the East, or maybe this wasn't, maybe this was something subconscious. Nico, any reaction to that?
Wow, I feel it's really interesting. At the first, I didn't look into the nationality of the composer, but when I listened to the music piece, even the instrument he uses double bass, right? But it's a kind of a Western instrument. But when I listen to the piece, I feel a sense like a kind of Eastern style, Eastern aesthetic inside of it, and I really love this music piece, and we choose it. So I think it's really interesting. It's like kind of coincidence, but also some like cultural background. Maybe it's what lead us together.
Zhiqing, you're nodding. You agree with that?
Yes, because when I first hear this music piece, the first part played by the plank music reminds me of a Chinese instrument called guzheng. It has about 6,000 years histories. Yeah, and I think that's the interest that's very interesting in music in instrument, and I think that's no country between music piece. We only need to feeling feeling this.
Yeah, well, that's absolutely wonderful to hear from you both. Thank you so much. I think it's time to see what you've made. So this is Lost by Zhiqing Hua and Nico Yao. that was Lost by Jiqing Hua and Nico Yao to Dai Fujikura's beautiful piece S for solo double bass, played there by Enno Senft. Few wonderful comments coming through in the chat. Kate Lane has said, well done everyone as course leader on the BA Performance Design Practice course. She is so happy that this collaboration continues to thrive, and she's really enjoying hearing you all talk about your work. And Kane Husbands, he's saying fire, 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 mega proud of you all. At this time, in this context, when we've all been told to stay apart, you show us how we can all come together and collaborate. Absolutely, this is so important. Keep all the comments coming, team. It's wonderful that you, the audience, are there listening and watching to these wonderful pieces. And it's time now for our third film. And this is a film called The Parable by Shania Silvandran and Kavare Foster. Shania and Kavare, if you could make yourselves visible and audible now. And this short film you're about to see is their fascinating response to Mark Bowden's piece for solo saxophone called Parable, which is performed by Simon Harum. Hi there, Kavare. You first. Hi there. Now, you've had a completely different approach in your film. Tell us a little bit about what you've done technically to make this happen.
Well, technically I was designing the costume behind it, so I feel like technically our collaboration was with me and Shania and I was really fabulous, because we were coming from completely different backgrounds in terms of our like technical abilities, but we shared like similar interests. So I was bringing in like a background of ritual and shamanic practice, and Shania was bringing and weaving in this beautiful background of coding and creating the animation, as well as designing as well. So I feel like together we combine those really beautifully to create this.
So these completely complementary skills that you have. So Shania, you have basically made a digital body, haven't you, in this film? Tell us a bit about that.
So basically the digital bodies are kind of a rendered version of myself, so photogrammetry. And then we'll be able to kind of change it to create this kind of spirit body in some sense that both of us can kind of play with and see how kind of Kavare's ritual can be kind of translated through using kind of gaming technology and coding to create this kind of hybridity between a kind of, has this kind of, I guess, traditional quality with this kind of very contemporary and futuristic essence, which we're trying to create this kind of atmosphere of this kind of spirituality in some sense. So I think a lot of people who use this kind of 3D technology, there is a sense of kind of post-production, this kind of imitation where people think a lot about the visuals, where I think with us, we really would focus a lot on the kind of the performance, the dramaturgy, and how we can create something very unique with this kind of shamanic practice that Kavare feels very passionate about, with my kind of obsession with kind of changing the way we see the body and interaction with kind of the spirituality through using kind of gaming technology and coding, and seeing how that can change the way we think about cinema and film in some sense.
I must say, sorry to interrupt, Kavare. Go ahead. You were about to say.
I was just I completely agree with Shania and about the body extension thing. So I think technology from Shania's end has brought this like fascinating capacity to like extend the body in a way that, you know, one might do in the ancient ways, which is like shamanically. So you extend your body to include spirits, or extending your body to be more powerful through meditating. So you become stronger mentally inside. And so the film and this opportunity was bringing those together to present that visually, which was really exciting.
Kavare, did you have a sense when you were making this that you wanted to bring some of this shamanic sacred energy actually out through the film? It sounds like you would like something to affect the viewer so that it has a kind of power of its own, even in this short time that's allowed.
Definitely, yeah. I think we both wanted to do that. We both have spiritual practices, and we both really have experienced that kind of like bodily changing sensation, the power that comes with meditation. And I think if there's an opportunity in this film to present that and extend the heart, and like, you know, a lot of it's focused on the heart in the film, as everyone will see, yeah, that's a really big plus.
I have to just ask you quickly, both about the music and your response to the music itself. How did you weave that into this process, Shania?
I think what we tried to do was very much, I think it's kind of started off with Kavari's kind of very deep connection with the ritual. So he was kind of doing this ritual every day, kind of doing this trance, having this trance session every day with the music. And then I think on my end, kind of with the kind of creating and making the film with the kind of the coding and stuff, I really wanted to, with the kind of the body extensions, the kind of body endorsements, it becomes a kind of, the body becomes an object, it becomes an instrument, a kind of spiritual instrument, has a kind of thing power in some sense. It doesn't just become an object, it becomes something that is kind of unfamiliar and kind of has this kind of power and something, transcendental power. And it really, I think what we tried to do in this kind of collaboration, that we wanted to really capture the cyclical nature of the music as well as the repetitive nature, which is so important to Mark's idea of the parable and how it kind of starts and ends the same. And I think actually the idea of it being a ritual and being a trance really, I think, captures the idea of what he was trying to do with this kind of this repetition and this kind of magical energy within it, because it feels very the way it kind of subverting the way we see the saxophone, it becomes a kind of anatomical object in some sense. It has this kind of breath to it, and it's really changing the way we think about, I guess, music and the kind of the conventions of music.
Fantastic. I'm sure Mark would be absolutely delighted to know, Kavari, that you have actually turned his sound into ritual and are now channeling something new from it. Wonderful. I think we should see it. So this is The Parable by Shania Selvandran and Kavari Foster. That was The Parable by Shania Silvandran and Kavare Foster, and music by Mark Bowden, played by the wonderful Simon Harum. And I just have to make a correction. Shania has quite rightly been saying to me that I have been talking to Kavare far too much. And Shania, of course, is an absolute equal collaboration between these two wonderful artists. Shania, tell me very quickly now, what's the crystal in the middle of this wonderful goddess-like figure?
So the rock, obviously, because it's a collaboration, rock obviously we spoke about, and obviously Kavari is kind of interested in kind of talismans and the idea, and basically the rock is a photogrammetry as well. So it's a photogrammetry copy of a kind of rock, and it becomes the kind of part of the body endorsement in some sense, and it's a kind of just an animated part. Yeah.
Wonderful. Something I have to just ask you, I immediately was thinking of Fritz Lang's film Metropolis and the goddess there. Was it a reference at all, or is that just a wonderful kind of bit of harmony? Shania.
I think we didn't really look in. I think it was more, we're just interested in kind of spirit bodies and our interpretation of that in some sense. We didn't particularly look into that, but it was just more of a kind of seeing how we can see kind of spirituality in the body in different ways, seeing
Wonderful.
how this kind of performer can do different things and stuff.
Fantastic. Well, I have to thank you both so much. We've run out of time, alas, but I have to say that we're getting absolute raves here from Therese White, saying it's a perfect film and film sync, well done, perfect music and film sync. Andrew Burke is saying what an amazing visual style for that film and how the mood of the film really matched the music. And everyone is giving a huge shout out to the wonderful Vicky Thornton for making the magic happen in all these collaborations. Thank you so much, Shania and Kavari. Good luck with your work. Now you can disappear, because we are now moving on to film 4, which is called Brotherly Love. And this is a film that follows a fight between two friends and its aftermath. And it is by Maria Bernal, Sophie Goodall and Raybant Ruparel. If you could make yourselves visible to us, team. And this film is based on the music of Spanish composer Francisco Coll and his piece Hyperlude 4 for solo violin, performed by Thomas Gould. Maria, Sophie and Raybant, hello, welcome. Lovely to see you there. Raybant is not quite visible right now. Oh, yes, you are. Fantastic. Hi there, lovely to meet you. So, Sophie, starting with you, tell me about your part in this film. How did you make it?
So we split it up pretty evenly in like the roles and stuff, but we did have like elements that we focused more on. And I focused a lot on shooting the film and the like behind the scenes stuff to begin with, because Raybant was acting and Maria helps me with that. She did some of the writing, quite a lot of that as well. And then we all kind of came together at the end and did the editing together.
Fantastic. So Maria, what was your role in this?
I guess I naturally, the same way that Sophie and Raybant naturally focused on some parts, I naturally focused on the script and the story. And the first thing I thought of right after I heard the music was to just like an improvisation of a script and of a story, and sort of to see what ideas I had coming out and wandering in my head. And I think I kept being very interested in the story and how we could make it entertaining. Yeah.
Can you give us a little idea of what this story is?
So we wanted to make it quite ambiguous. The main action happens during the fight, and then the first part and the second part are sort of the aftermath. It's not chronological. The ending is very open. And that's why also our synopsis is quite short, because this is not a concrete piece. Francisco already told us that it was very angular, very abstract, that it was not traditional. So our film, it's not chronological, it's not traditional. It doesn't have proper way to explain it, and it just does not have just one interpretation, I guess.
So it's more surreal. Ray Bant, wonderful acting in this film. Is this your first time acting?
I'd say on film, yes. I haven't done too much acting on film before. So yes, this was really fun to learn everything. It was kind of like a starting point.
Fantastic. So aside from actually starring in your own movie, what was your contribution to this collaboration? What was your angle?
I think we all pretty much settled into our roles really quickly. I think mine was to like try and work on the storyline a little bit, and also from the acting perspective. Because once we did our test shoot, we decided to develop it a little bit more. Initially, it was just me as one character. Then we added our second actor, Pat. And it was from there on, it was about like us keeping up the same intensity in this acting and like going together, like matching all the way through.
So the film has a lot to do at some point with it seems to be flashbacks and memory. How did you deal with that technically, Sophie? I don't know if that's your part, but in terms of editing and cutting.
So I guess the main part was to just make sure that we had a lot of footage, because in those parts where the music is very intense, the best thing to do is kind of keep up and on the same level as the music. So creating the film a lot in those areas kind of worked out best for that.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Sorry, go.
And Ray-Ban, what was your initial reaction to the music itself? What did it make you want to do in terms of creating a piece?
I think it was really lovely listening to it. I think it was refreshing because I think it was kind of like a journey, and when we spoke to Francisco, he kind of confirmed it for me. It was very like, he made it in 3 parts, and it kind of followed this like, you know, calmness leading up to like this intensity, this build up to an explosion, and then calmness again. And he necessarily wanted it to be like not symmetrical. And I think that's what I got from it. I think it was kind of taking you up and down until the end with just calmness. So I think a journey is what I was thinking to begin with, something to follow like through.
And Maria, does that resonate with you? You're nodding in your response to the music.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we were pretty in contact and obviously making the film, so everything they're saying, I resonate with it. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I think we should see it because it is wonderful, people. So here it is, Brotherly Love, and this is by Maria Burnell, Sophie Goodall and Ray-Ban Ruparel, with music by Francisco Coll, played by the wonderful Thomas Gould. Brotherly Love by Maria Bernal, Sophie Goodall and Raybant Ruparel, with that beautiful music by Francisco Coll, his Hyperlude 4, played by Jonathan Morton, not Thomas Gould. My huge apologies to the wonderful John Morton, who is the principal violinist of London Sinfonietta. Tom Gould's also a wonderful violinist who recorded it on a different recording. Anyway, that was Jonathan Morton playing. That has to be the first time I've heard a flute scale play up like that in direct lining up with Snorting Coke. Absolutely love it, team. It's lovely to see you. Sophie, it feels very kind of film noir-y. Was that kind of part of your aesthetic, do you think, or it just came out that way?
To an extent it was. We looked at a lot of like surrealist film references, and also like surrealist, more like modern horrors that kind of have a different take on it with a lot of the bright colors. We used a lot of them as like visual reference points, but also I think just like the actor Pat just kind of added that look to it because of like the way his hair was somehow.
Yeah. Maria, did you, I mean, I guess all of you spoke together about this sort of extra element of dance. Maria, how did that come into the collaboration?
I don't think there's any dancing in our film. But I think...
Not dance, sorry. I mean, just having two actors, having this...
Yeah, I mean, there was a big sense of like, as we shot 4 times, we did 4 shootings, and I thought that on every shooting we learned more even about choreography. Like we didn't choreograph the fight, but there was a relation with how we learn what sort of movements look better, what shots could accentuate some of the fighting, because obviously we're not professionals, so we had to, I think Reben did a lot of research on like, how do they make fighting look real? And yeah, we noticed a bit changed in that.
Reben, did you enjoy doing that?
Yeah, I think it was great. I think we, as Maria said, we kept, as the filming, like we going on to the next day of filming, we kept getting better and we kept having like more of a grip of like, you know, we need to film these kind of scenes, we need to get this intensity, we need to match the music for this period. And I think we broke it down really well and like worked on it together. I think that was worked out really well.
Well, I think you've done an absolutely beautiful job. Thank you so much, Sophie Marie and Raybant. And we're going to move on now to our next film. And this is a response to music by Samantha Fernando. And this is her piece for solo flute, Kinesphere, played by the incredible Michael Fox. And this film is called Faded. And the Faded team, if you could make yourselves visible now, this is a short, intense study of the disenchanted life led by a teenage boy trying to deal with past trauma. Olivia Pittas and Isaac Irvin. Hello, hi there. Olivia isn't visible quite yet, but it's lovely to see you here. So Isaac, can you tell us a little bit about this film and how you made these decisions to go with this particular music?
Yeah, for sure. So we did a lot of thought into how some of our own subject matter before even listening to the music, how we would then listen to the music and they kind of correlated. So we were kind of thinking right before we heard the music about what kind of issues that we'd like to tackle. And a big thing with the kind of pandemic was that I think a lot of people were feeling very isolated and there'd been a lot of talk about mental health. So that was definitely something that we wanted to focus on. And then when we heard the music, the amazing music of Samantha, we kind of immediately, things kind of went into place in the eeriness and the kind of haunting sense that was so it was played so beautifully in her music. It all aided to kind of creating this narrative that we went down. So yeah.
And you've chosen a couple of different locations for this one. Olivia, tell us how you came to choose those.
Sorry, my internet's
oh, no, you're here.
messing up. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, we can hear you even if you're freezing. So how did you get to choose the locations?
I can speak.
Well,
Oh, right.
you speak for us for the moment.
Yeah, so in terms of locations, we had both spent actually kind of randomly a lot of time in Brighton, and we were kind of entranced almost by like sometimes in the mornings there's kind of like fogginess that kind of aided to the eeriness of our narrative, and then also there's kind of like this party sense to it as well. So there's like this really juxtaposed ideas. There's like the beauty of like the location and the kind of natural kind of ocean landscape, and then you have this more kind of rugged artsy side. So we thought that would aid quite well to exploring these two sides of mental health, like sanity, insanity, and it kind of went from there. And then we did some in London as well, in Tottenham Marshes, because it's quite odd. You go into Tottenham, it's all quite hustle and bustle, but then you kind of go to the marshes and there's this kind of serenity that's present there. And we also did some locations inside of Olivia's flat as well, and also we filmed in her boyfriend's flat in Brighton. So there was a real kind of lots of moving around, but I think that it was quite exciting, especially when you're filming something, to have that kind of diversity in location, because it creates a more dynamic film in many senses.
Also, it's very personal to you. These are locations that you've spent time on and all the rest of it. Liv, I'm so sorry your Wi-Fi is playing up right now. Hopefully it will come back on at the end of this film, which I think we should see. And we can. Yeah, I think for now your Wi-Fi is not going to play ball, Olivia, but never mind. I think we should see this film, which I have to say has got drug use in it. Forgive my reference to it in the last conversation. I'd referenced the wrong film. So how exciting. Let's see it right now. This is Faded by the wonderful Olivia Pittas and Isaac Irvin. Was Olivia Pittas and Isaac Irvin's beautiful piece Faded to that wonderful music by Samantha Fernando, played there by the incredible Michael Cox. And this was the one with the Coke flute lineup. My goodness, people, sorry, too many apologies this evening. But anyway, what a wonderful film. Olivia's video isn't working, but we'll just see if her audio is working. Olivia, now hopefully you're back. Tell us about your contribution. How did you come to matching this music with these images?
Hi. Yeah, I mean, the music was a really big part of the creation of our film. We already had some ideas, some themes going on from the beginning, but throughout the entirety of producing the film, we would listen to the music between takes, and through the editing process as well, we made sure from start to finish that every scene would match the music at that point in time. So yeah.
It seems to me that sort of memory is a lot to do with this film. So it makes sense that you would have this close relationship with the music intercutting these images. Did you think like that?
Yeah, of course. Like the whole editing process, we made sure like everything had a meaning, the fading in and out, the overlaying, the cuts of the music. It all had a meaning.
Well, it's a very, very beautiful and powerful film. And Isaac, you're clearly not new to the camera. I mean that in a really nice way.
Yeah, no, I've done I've done a lot, because I went to the Raballi School, and we did a lot of recording for like sort of educational purposes as well. And I've done, I've just been in a few short films and stuff like this. So I was very happy and excited to be more involved in the process behind the camera as well, because it definitely, even though you do see me a lot in front of the camera in terms of setting up shots, we did all of the editing together. And I really enjoyed seeing and understanding both sides of the lens. It's been like a really enlightening process for me.
It's fantastic. Not so many dancers have these extra experiences to draw on. That's fantastic. And Olivia, it must have been such a gift for you to have a dancer of Isaac's quality to work with.
I know, it's been amazing, and we're such good friends as well. So it was really nice to work with him, and he just felt so comfortable performing with me. So yeah, it was a really good experience.
Yeah, and that's down to Olivia as well. It's just been a lovely kind of collaboration, very smooth running. So it's been a pleasure to work with Olivia as well.
Fantastic. Well, it's beautiful work, you two. We've got all sorts of people in the chat just saying how beautiful it all is. Alexander, it was amazing. Julia, wow, this was beautiful. Beautifully filmed. Blue tormented scenes with the dance with the shadows, very strong. Congratulations. And the piece was deeply moving, a beautiful piece of work, says read me 1,000. So well done, team. Well, we're now moving on to the very last piece in this evening's show. Thank you very much, Isaac and Olivia. And our final film this evening is by Jenna Coons, Natasha Gatwood and Susanna J. Gaffney. And this is their response to a classic piece for amplified bassoon and electronics called Axeman by Anna Meredith and performed by John Orford. If all of you people involved in our next film, which is called The Equilibrists, if you can make yourself visible and audible. And the creative team for this film have described it as a chaotic cabaret film. Jenna, tell us about your creative your chaotic cabaret. How did it come into being?
So the whole piece of film was completely inspired by the piece of music itself, and it was about our reaction to the piece of music and how we felt there was a need to subvert the expectations, and what the piece of music is actually played on is a bassoon, but it sounds like a guitar. So we kind of wanted to draw on these ideas of creating parallels between what you'll see in the film, the foreground and the background, and yeah.
Fantastic. So Tash, tell us a little bit about what the narrative is behind this film.
Well, the idea of it is more like a collage and a sort of visual poetry. Wouldn't say there's per se a narrative, more like a matching between the sections of music and the dynamics and the different acts. It's meant to sort of evoke the feeling of balance or imbalance. So sort of emulating that hopefully to the audience.
So it's this idea that it's this balancing act, Susanna, between sort of daily activities, in which you've chosen the wonderful metaphor of almost like a circus act.
Yeah, it was kind of like the literal in terms of the acts balancing themselves in their performances, and then they represent like a larger, more kind of like mental state of balance in terms of like their journey from A to B in each performance, like, especially with the tightrope walker. That's the literal like explanation of the A to B point like in life, and it's like subverting like expectation of like what you see isn't what you get, and like how it isn't all perfect, like things go wrong in performances. And yeah,
I've been so impressed by how many of you this evening have also been performers in these pieces to a really high level, and all three of you are appearing in this in all sorts of ways. Tash, what was it like? You're all doing all these different things.
Me and Jenna were straight from the off, we were going to be the clowns. You'll see that in the film, but we improvised. We didn't actually plan any of it per se. It was just more like from our conversations, we had this unified vision. I felt like we were very confident with what we wanted to achieve, and then you'll see. But yeah, a lot of it is sort of capturing those moments in the film as well, not just us, but other performers, where you sort of see them off guard. It's not quite like sort of non-matrix, I guess you could say. So yeah. But yeah, it was really good fun.
Fantastic. And Jenna, same for you. Did you enjoy the performance aspect of this?
Yeah, I think we really wanted to remove the idea that there was a set way we wanted the performers to perform. We wanted to kind of give the creative direction over to the performers and let them just improvise, basically. So yeah, as Tash said, when we were performing as the clowns, we just fed off of each other. And probably, Susie, I could say the same for you when you were dancing. You're a dancer anyway, so you might want to talk about that.
Yeah, Susanna, tell us.
Yeah, I have ballet like background in dance. I trained at the Northern Academy in Leeds, and I always love including like that into my work, even if it's like not myself performing, even just having movement and choreographing other people's movement. And it's always fun for me to be like dancing still in films, because I don't do the training as intensely anymore, so I really enjoyed that.
Well, you're in for a treat, everybody. This is the Equilibrists by the wonderful Jenna, Tash and Susie that you've just been speaking to, and this is music by Anna Meredith, played by John Orford. The Equilibrists by Jenna Coombs and Natasha Gatwood, who were the clowns, and Susanna J. Gaffney, who was the dancer, along with Hooper's Bella Olive and Olivia Relly, and Tightrope Walker Oscar Hardy. Tash, you did the costumes, I think, for this. Tell us about those. How did you come for this particular look?
Because we started from the beginning with the colours yellow and blue, it was quite like a natural choice to go with that as a direction. I wanted sort of like a checkerboard, sort of inverted vibe going on between every piece, and so I sort of did it in a week, and it was really good fun to make and like experiment at the same time. It wasn't like necessarily fixed, but I find when I make stuff anyway, it starts with one thing and then a little bit different. But yeah, it was great designing for a circus, an imaginary circus. It's great.
Fantastic. Well, many congratulations to the three of you on that really fun collaboration. And what a wonderful way to bring this tonight's collection of films to an end. Thank you all, you fabulous students at Central St Martin's, for these fascinating pieces of work, and to the incredible players of London Sinfonietta for their performances on the recordings. Jenna, Tash and Susie, thanks very much. Goodbye. Good luck with all your work. And also a big thank you to the composers for their wonderful music, to the performers of London Sinfonietta for their incredible playing, and most of all to you lot, the audience at home. It really is so wonderful that you're here in these strange times, keeping the flame burning for creativity, art and music in these very, very strange times. Thank you all. Do hit subscribe to the London Sinfonietta channel if you're interested. There's a fantastic programme of shows coming up ahead. And once again, an enormous thank you to Wonder Woman Vicky Thornton, who has helped all these students put all these films together. So lovely to see you all. Be well, take care. Bye.